This is a pre-recorded lesson discussion of the lesson Geographical and Cultural Foundations of Religion in the subject Introduction to World Religions and Belief Systems. So this is the third lesson in this subject, which is entitled Geographical and Cultural Foundations of Religion. Lesson objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students will be able to cite region or places where specific religions originated and have evolved, deconstruct the culture of the region that gave rise to specific religions, explain how geography influences religion and how religion affects culture, and demonstrate an understanding of geographical contexts that affect the formation of culture and religion. Geographical and cultural foundations of religion. Psychological approach deals with how religion affects or influences human behavior. Okay, there are various ways in order to understand the effects of religion. And it's very important to look at different aspects since religion has multiple facets to look into in order to fully understand its functions and essentialities. So one of these is the psychological approach. Say psychology, it is the scientific study of mind and human behavior. In this sense, religion can have an effect to the psychological makeup or mental state and behavior of a person. Next one is the anthropological approach. It deals with the evolution of religion and its central influence on people as a being. When we say anthropology, it is the study of society and culture and their development. In this sense, religion can influence human development as well as the society and culture as a whole. Next is historical approach. It deals with the origins of religion. Okay. History is the study of past human events. Okay, thus understanding religion in the lens of history is a way of understanding its origin, development, and influences from generations to generations. Next is geographical approach. It deals with how the environment, dispersion, and diffusion of a religion affect the universalization of religions. Okay. When we say geography, it is the study of places and its relationship with people who live in a particular place. So geography can influence the origin and development of one religion. It has a big factor in how religions spread out around the world. Okay. And we need to understand these two outstanding principles when understanding the geography of religion. First is principle of environmental determinism. It refers to how human activities are controlled and determined by the environment. Okay, when we say environmental determinism, it refers to the huge influence of physical environment to the formation of culture, religion, and human activities. And we also have synergistic principle, which means that there is an active interplay between environment and culture that helps explain the origin and initial development of religions. Okay, when we say synergistic principle, it refers to the interrelatedness of environment and culture on developing a religion. Next is religion and culture. Okay. One of the most prominent determining factors of one religion is the culture of its adherents or those who practice that specific religion. And since religion can hugely affect human behaviors and activities, and it fits to study what's the effect or what's the connection between religion and culture. Okay. Each religion has its origin. The advent of religions influenced cultures alongside the birth of civilizations. The advent of religions influenced the cultural life of people where said religions flourished. Okay, religion can affect various aspects in life, and it is very evident when you look at the culture of people in which the totality of their being and how they perceive the world are influenced by their beliefs and the system that their community has been practicing. In the process of how religion creates its own culture and influences or imposes its cultural practices on people is based on the triadic model of absorption, transformation, and rejection. So these three factors, absorption, transformation, and rejection, are the manifestations of how religions evolve or spread out to various places. So when we say absorption, it means people absorb the cultural practices of one religion. It means that people accept and immerse the religion being introduced to them on their own system. Like, for example, the absorption of Roman Catholicism in the pre-colonial Philippines, or the absorption of Christianity in ancient Rome. Okay, examples: Christianity in Roman Empire and the Catholicism in the Philippines. So before in the Philippines, um, the original religion was called as animism or anito anito, and as well as in Roman Empire in ancient Rome, their religion was Mithraism, but then Christianity was introduced and they accepted it. Next is transformation. It means people transform the absorbed cultural practices into a distinct religion. Okay, when we say transformation, the cultural practices and tradition of the absorbed religion transformed into a distinct variant of such religion from other adherents, especially when combining former religion. Okay, for example, the absorption of Christianity in ancient Rome that practiced Mithraism. It is a pagan religion. One of the manifestations is the name of the days in calendar. For example, Sunday refers to sun god, Monday refers to moon god, Tuesday refers to Mars, Wednesday refers to Mercury, Thursday refers to Jupiter, Friday refers to Venus, and Saturday refers to Saturn. Okay. Even though Christianity believes in one God, but still their paganistic origins influence the absorbed Christianity. That's why we have what we call Roman Catholicism, because they're also distinct from other Christian religions or Christian denominations. And in the Philippines, one of the manifestations is the folk medicine. Okay, when we say folk medicine, it is practiced by quack doctors or albularyo. They use medicinal plants and rituals influenced by animism, the original religion of the Philippines. And they also use Latin words influenced by Roman Catholicism and by calling the names of patron saints. And yeah, that's it. Roman Catholicism or Roman Christians and Philippine Catholicisms are Filipino Catholic. Next one is rejection. It means people reject things not connected to the transformed religion. Okay, when you say rejection, rejecting some of the beliefs of the absorbed religion when it is not relevant to their original beliefs and practices. Right? For example, in Roman Catholicism, they rejected the idea that priests can marry and have a family of their own. Because in biblical times, the priests or the Levites were allowed to marry. But in Roman Catholicism, priests are not allowed. In Filipino Catholicism. They rejected the Holy Spirit because they believed that the third person in Holy Trinity is God the Mother, since there is God the Father and God the Son. Filipino Catholicism is different from major Catholicism in the Philippines. It's different. The process of how religion creates its own culture, it influences or imposes its cultural practices on people is based on the Triadic model of absorption, transformation, and rejection. Okay, that's what we discussed earlier. Okay, the crippling effect of materialism and globalization on religion leads to a peripheral visualization of religious relevance to various human affairs. Okay. In modern times, um, because of the advent of technology, um, many people are forgetting or ignoring their religious background since their beliefs are now associated with modernity, or because of the modernization, there's the evolution of their beliefs and practices. Religion can also shape society's destiny. It also provides a template on how to manage and direct one's life. It imposes standards of what a person ought to do or not to do. Okay, in short, the moral dimension of one's actions is guided by his or her religious beliefs. Next is geography and religion. Geography helps one to relate religion as a human activity and as influenced by the existence of a being or beings of a transcendent nature. Okay. The place and environment where people live had a huge influence to their beliefs about gods or supreme beings. Some people worship the nature because they believe that the spirits of nature will bless their agriculture if they will worship them, or some believe that being one with nature is, excuse me, nature is a spiritual experience. Human beings have conceived the idea that there must be a being or beings capable of creating the most complex creation that even humans cannot possibly do. That is the environment. Neither can humans create the universe nor they can create themselves. Okay, nature and environment conceive as powerful beings who can create the entire universe that humans cannot do. Thus, they are worthy to worship. People regarded the environment and nature as worthy of their worship because of their necessity to worship someone that is higher to them. Human beings are in constant search for the meaning and purpose of life. Similarly, people also ask what the purpose of the world is. Okay, that's why people revert to the nature because they believe that nature can give to them the purpose of their life. Human beings are in constant search for the meaning and purpose of life. Similarly, people also ask what the purpose of the world is. Okay, that's what we discussed earlier. Okay, a brief summary of the historical development of geography of religion. Studying religion using the geographical approach is not new and has gone on for thousands of years. Ancient Greeks saw nature as a manifestation of a higher being. Okay, scholars in ancient Greek believed that nature was the manifestation of supreme beings. That's why in studying religion was important for them to consider the geographical location of the religions. The intense interest of Muslim scholars in geography and the way they see things in relation to it are due to trade and commerce. In Islam, it spread out primarily because of trade and business, because of the strong ties between pre-colonial Philippines and Arabs. Due to business and trading, many parts of the Philippines converted to Islam. The Celtic monasteries became the center of scholarship activity where ideas and a body of knowledge related to geography were being studied and memorized by students. An important body of facts, ideas, and information were written in manuscripts. So even in the old times, geography was widely used or widely considered as an important lens in studying religions. The serious study of geography of religion began during the Renaissance. The Renaissance took place from 14th to 17th century when the rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and art flourished. During this time, the study of geography was centered on theology and the spread of Christianity. This kind of geographical enterprise is called ecclesiastical geography. Okay. You see, Renaissance period, it is considered as the rebirth of European culture, politics, economics, arts, and the rediscovery of classical philosophy and literature and the arts. So, which means that ecclesiastical geography basically refers to the study of how religions or how Christianity spread out, the relationship between Christianity and geography. Biblical or scriptural geography is a form of geographical inquiry centered on identifying and locating places and names found in the biblical text. So, biblical or scriptural geography is finding the places mentioned in the Bible. Natural theology is a type of theological endeavor that requires an understanding of geographical phenomena to provide strong support to theological views and arguments about God. So, natural theology is the scientific or empirical aspect of explaining God in relevance to the geographical locations where events of the Bible located or events in the Bible took place. Right. The 18th century was characterized as the age of reason or enlightenment. The major current which the Enlightenment gave much emphasis on was the power of reason to reveal the inner workings of nature, and that gave rise to understanding geography in different radical perspectives. This means that logical and sound reasoning were valued in order to explain the relevance of geography in religion during the age of reason or enlightenment. We also have natural adaptation or organic evolution, in which organisms evolve through a natural process, and that evolutionary progression has nothing to do with an external or supernatural force, but heavily caused by different environmental studies. Right. So, environment plays or has a huge factor on the evolution of species and living things as opposed to the divine creation most religions believe in. That's what we call natural adaptation or organic evolution. We also have environmental determinism that claims that religious beliefs are determined by the environment. So, the environment greatly affected the culture, traditions, and beliefs valued by one religion. Diffusion and dispersion of religions. The spread of religion makes people understand, for instance, how excuse me, the movement of people affects cultural and social lifestyles in a particular place. It helps people see the behavioral patterns and working mechanisms of people in adjusting to geographical conditions of places where these religions flourish. Okay. Migration is a huge factor in dispersion of religions. Moving from one place to another affects people's culture and beliefs and even influence the people near to them. And it could help us grasp their way of life by seeing the patterns of their system. Okay. Two important elements in studying the distribution of world religions. First is the places where these religions originated. This means that we need to understand, we need to study where did religions come from or their birth of origin. The process employed in their dispersion and diffusion. So how the adherents influence other people to be accepted by other people outside of their religion. All religious systems, practices, and worldviews are shaped by their surroundings or environment. The ancient Egyptians, who found sources of water and food in the river, worshipped the Nile River, while the Hindus, who lived in a hot environment, worshipped a rain god. The people in the ancient times usually worshipped the source of their food and livelihood. If, for example, the Nile River in Egypt, because it was the main source for irrigation of their agriculture, they implored themselves to worship it. Each major religion had a place of origin. Moreover, a religion is a mirror of its place of origin. For example, the Hebrew Bible provides a wealth of information as to the geographical locations, conditions, and climates of places mentioned there. In studying religion, um, it is important to look at the environment of the locations because this will give to some important answers and explanations to the compelling questions because the geographical location can also affect the culture of the people, how they see or perceive things or the world. Okay, for example, in Hebrew and Jewish culture, they called what do you call that the Dead Sea as a sea, where in fact it's a form of lake. But then they called it as a Dead Sea because that's how they perceive their geographical location. That's one important aspect of the differences how we perceive our environment. Religion's own systems reflect the spirit of their places of origin. Weinhamann, as cited by Chris Clark 1994, observes that there is little doubt that representations of the gods, ideas of heaven, objects of worship, and even styles of temples vary according to physical surroundings. The mosque of Islam, churches of Christianity, synagogues of Judaism, and temples of Hinduism reflect the places of origin of these religions. So even though religions have variants and similarities, but the physical environment is truly manifested on the different styles and designs of temples and churches. These places of origin are divided into two sections, Indus Ganges and Semitic hearts. The Indus Ganges heart is the birthplace of the religions that began in India, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. Semitic hearts, Christianity, and Islam. It's in the Fertile Crescent. Okay. So important notes. These religious hearts were found where ancient civilizations were born, in the Nile River, the Indian valleys, and Mesopotamia. Semitic and Indus Ganges religions emerged in the periphery of the great ancient civilization. So the birth of these religions also birthed some of the ancient civilizations in the world. Universal religions are called missionary religions because they tend to spread to other religions of the world to spread their belief systems. Fundamentalist religions, for example, proselytize or indoctrinate to gain more followers and membership. So it is the intentional act of spreading religion, like attracting converts in order to widen the religion, to um, to gather more members of their religion. Spatial diffusion is a process of cultural change, transfer, or movement of things, ideas, and people from place to place. Okay, just like in Islam, the belief in Allah is not just the primary purpose of spreading Islam, but as well as their culture, their beliefs, and practices, which means that it is not just a belief that people transfer to other people, but as well as their culture, their traditions, even their rituals. Okay, two principles of spatial diffusion. First is principle of religious movement means that if one wants to understand why a diffusion occurs, it is necessary to take into consideration the speed, processes, and dynamics of religious movement, which means that uh, need to consider how fast, what's the method, and the characteristic of diffusion. Principle of intensity of movement describes the dichotomous nature of diffusion that takes place in time and space. The dichotomous nature means that members are diffused to various places to spread their beliefs and consequently invite more people to their fold, and to refuse to be converted to other religions. So this means that converting people to their religion but rejecting other religions to influence them or get converted to them. Both aspects, to promote, carrier, and to reject or barrier, affect the speed and directional movement of diffusion. So two standard processes of diffusion. Expansion diffusion, in which religions send missionaries or members of their fold to various places around the world to convert people to their religion, which means that sending off missionaries to spread the religion. For example, the Christian missionaries, what they did in the Philippines. They It's not just they colonize our land, but they also influence us, their religion. They subjugated our uh, culture before they came, as well as our religious belief system. They introduced Christianity to us. That's an example of expansion diffusion. Just like this one. Next is relocation of diffusion. It means that while people are moving from one place to another, they bring with them their own religious identity. Then, while living in a new territory, they gradually attract converts. In this sense, it is indirect because the underlying purpose of migrating to other places is not to spread religion but to establish a new settlement. Okay. Migration, as what we have discussed earlier, that it is one of the ways to spread one religion when people migrate or move from one place to another. So living from one place to another, um, bring bringing the religion and influence the people who live in the community where they transferred. That's relocation diffusion. For example, the Jews in pre-World War II Germany, because the Jewish were spread out for many times. They spread out around the world. They brought their religion, their traditions, their practices to the place where they relocated. For example, in Germany before the World War II. Okay, today, religious diffusion takes new forms, processes, methods, and approaches because of highly advanced communication technology. Television and social media networks have been used to diffuse religions, while economic and political factors are primary factors of dispersion and distribution. So technology can be used to spread religions and other faiths. Okay, there are churches and denominations, Facebook fan page, television network, radio programs, YouTube channels, and other platforms, just like this one, Joel Austin and this is and Joyce Mayers. Okay, they have television programs of their church services and preachings. Dispersion or diffusion of religions in the Indus Ganges and Semitic hearts. Dispersion of Hinduism and Buddhism. Hinduism flourished in India around 4000 BCE. 2,500 years after Buddha founded Buddhism in the foothills around the Ganges Plain. India has played an important role in scattering beliefs, values, and cultures to its neighboring civilizations by filtering and absorbing cultural practices from those in contact with them. So, Hinduism and Buddhism originated from India, and by that it spread out to other regions, nearby places, or countries. This is the map. Buddhism remained in northern India during the time of Buddha and gradually spread to the west of India. It was only after 2 centuries that it spread in other parts of India. So even other parts of Southeast Asia, Hinduism and Buddhism were also practiced. Like for example, in Thailand, they practice Hinduism. Buddhism is also practiced in China. Dispersion of Judaism. The Semitic religions originated in the same geographical sacred space as Hinduism and Buddhism. Judaism is known as the oldest Semitic religion. Okay, when we say Semitic religion, it is called as that. It's because uh, the forefather of um, Jewish or Hebrew people was the one of the sons of Noah. Um, it's Shem. That's why it's called Semitic religion. Christianity emerged from within the Judaism more than 2,000 years ago. Islam came later after its founder Muhammad made contact with the Jews and Christians. Similar to Hinduism, Judaism remains an indigenous religion while Christianity and Islam became missionary religion. So that's the difference between Judaism from Christianity and Islam, because Judaism, they're not aggressive in terms of spreading their religion, because mostly Judaism is only practiced by Jewish people, by the Jews, while Christianity and Islam, they're spread out to other people, to other races. Judaism in its early formative years quickly spread and dispersed. When King Solomon's holy temple was destroyed in 586 BCE, the major tribes of Israel were forced exile in northern Assyria. So it is if you read the Bible in the Old Testament, you will learn that every time the Israel was being conquered by other nations, people or the Hebrew people spread out to other places, such as this case. Dispersion of Judaism. Dispersion of the Jews, led by Jewish refugees and immigrants scattered in various colonial regions, gave birth to a variety of religious practices and groups that nonetheless remained loyal to the basic tenets of Judaism. As what I've said, Israel was conquered by other nations for countless of times. It was in 1948. It was um, it was conducted in the United Nations, and regarded Israel as the nation of Israel as the independent state of the Israeli people. It's 1948 when they went back to their original land. But during the times when they were scattered around the globe, although until today there are still Jewish people around the globe scattered, they still practice their religion with them. Dispersion of Christianity. Christianity started its missionary journey from Jerusalem to Samaria, Phoenicia, Gaza, Egypt, and Syrian cities of Antioch and Damascus. Later it diffused to Cyprus, Turkey, Greece, Malta, and Rome. The rapid expansion of Christianity in Europe was brought about by first its marriage to politics when Constantine, the Emperor of Rome, declared Christianity as the official religion in the fourth century. Second, the active missionary activities of the early members in the 13th and 16th century. So, if you study the New Testament and the early events uh, after the death of Christ, um, you will learn the dispersion of Christianity from Israel to other parts of Asia and Europe. So, because Emperor Constantine accepted Christianity, he he merged it to their original religion, which is Mithraism. So he combined Christianity and Mithraism. He combined the religious beliefs of both religions, and they spread out this religion in the Europe. Dispersion of Islam. Muhammad founded Islam in Medina in 622 CE. At first, Islam was concentrated in Arabia, where Muhammad reigned supreme. After his death, his followers started to spread the religion to other parts of the world through active conquest of lands in Western Europe, India, Spain, North Africa, Egypt, Syria, and other parts of Southeast Asia, such as Malaysia and Indonesia, which now has the largest Muslim population in the world. One of the important factors for the rapid spread of Islam was its active engagement in business or trade using caravan trails. So we discussed earlier that one of the tools used by Islam in order to spread out their religion is through business and trade. But there were instances in the past that they engage in crusades wherein um, they influence other people from other countries through wars. That's what they call the holy war or the jihad. Diffusion and dispersal of religions in the world today. Unlike the old times when much of the religious dispersion and diffusion took place because nature had to force people to move to different locations, diffusion of religions today is more influenced by social, political, economic, and cultural factors. Most of today's international migrants came from countries embroiled in political conflicts and turmoil, while other migrants came from less developed countries. So, so and say religions today it's different from the ancient past in terms of the dispersion and diffusion because um, it's the active interplay of nature. But today it's different. It's because of the politics, because of economy, and other cultural factors. Especially with the advent of technology, it's easier for other people to influence other people to believe in their religion and be converted because of technology, of computers, we have internet. And that's the end of the lesson. So I hope that uh, you listen to the discussion, this pre-recorded discussion until the end of this video. Thank you very much and have a good day.